double check that that's going to work. Says excellent connection. So I'll take that as a win.
Stock D&D sales. So during last week's conference call, Hasbro CEO Chris Cox said it was, quote, the strongest start ever for D&D books. Notice that language. It's very spongy. It's the strongest start for D&D ever. They don't release hard data on that. They release numbers, but not specific D&D sales numbers. This is data from BookScan, courtesy of Roll for Combat. It does not count direct sales, online sales, independent game store sales, or digital sales. So with that in mind, the 2014 Dungeons & Dragons
Wait, it doesn't count what?
and courtesy, but not specific D&D sales numbers. This is data from BookScan, courtesy of Roll for Combat. It does not count direct sales, online sales, independent game store sales.
Direct sales and online sales.
Or digital
And independent game store sales.
So with that in mind, the 2014
So most sales then, I presume, is not counting.
Dungeons & Dragons core rulebooks sold a combined 276,000 copies in the first year of release. How much has D&D 2024 sold? According to BookScan, the Player's Handbook has sold 51,000 copies, the DMG 28,000 copies, the Monster Manual 18,000 copies, a total of a little less than 100,000 copies, less than half of the 2024 team.
So wait, hold on. Sorry, I was messing with my lighting. What exactly does BookScan?
According to BookScan, the Player's Handbook is start for D&D ever. They don't release hard data on that. They release numbers, but not specific D&D sales numbers. This is data from BookScan, courtesy of Roll for Combat. It does not count direct sales, online sales, independent game store sales, or digital sales. So with that in mind, the 2014 Dungeons & Dragons core rulebook sold a combined 276,000 copies in the first year of release. How much has D&D 2024 sold? According to BookScan, the Player's Handbook has sold 51,000 copies, the DMG 28,000 copies, the Monster Manual 18,000 copies, a total of...
If I'm in half edition, half the sales makes sense to me. I'm confused what exactly BookScan. Hold on. Also, hey. What exactly does BookScan look at then? Let me find out. 1 second. Let me get rid of this time soon screen.
A little less than 100.
BookScan. Tracks actual weekly retail sales of trade print books in the US. So so it's just books in stores like, I guess if you're in Canada, Indigo, or in the UK, Waterstones, I guess is what it does. Because I don't think those places really even sell D&D books anymore. I think they probably did 10 years ago, but now it's become an online thing, and it's become a independent game store thing, is where I certainly see all my books. So I'm not saying this is wrong with it. It's useful to see, like, compare it to the books sold 10 years ago, but I think it's just a different industry right now. What's up, Ricing? What's up, Tropicabalt? We're just quickly watching this Dungeoncraft video about how many books D&D 2024 really sold.
100,000 copies, less than half of the 2014 version. I actually think Shadow Dark may have sold more physical copies of...
Also, hi, I wanted to GM a Daggerheart game since launch. Bought the book with the Amazon code, and last Sunday I ran the first half of Lost Cartographer. We finish it tonight. Oh, well, thank you for using my code. Thank you. That's good to know, because I don't get much feedback from that. But nice. How are you finding Lost Cartographer? Finishing it tonight. Okay. That's awesome, man. You're the first person I've spoken to directly who's running it. So it'll be interesting to know feedback. And good and bad, please. Good and bad.
At least the D&D Player's Handbook. Now, I can hear the objections. It doesn't count direct sales. It doesn't count digital.
Yeah. Direct sales from the D&D website, which is probably in the modern day where most targeted advertisement and most marketing that D&D are putting into it are directing people, right? Digital sales are huge now, like huge. And it doesn't count local game stores, which is where I feel like most people buy their D&D books from. So there's a huge caveat here that I think he's discussing now, so fair enough, but I don't think this data is, fair. This is also, by the way, from information that has been pushed by Roll for Combat, who people make mistakes all the time, but Roll for Combat is the person who said that they knew a guy inside Critical Role who told them that they only made Daggerheart to negotiate with D&D to make more money from D&D. So I kind of want to take everything from a pinch of salt here.
That's true. Maybe they did sell 200,000 more copies. But let's take a look at the data.
There's an interesting thing here as well, which is whether you think it should count or not. I think a lot of people bought 2 copies of the new D&D books. I think they bought a physical copy, and I think they bought a digital copy to use on things like D&D Beyond. I think that probably happened. They were often packaged together. So whether you want to look at that as oh, they sold even less because people were doubling up, so it's just less people have the copies, or if you want to look at that as legit and be well, they sold 2 copies there. So the numbers that they're looking at are probably that
Hasbro released with their earnings call. In the latest earnings call, Wizards performed exceptionally well. Revenue was up 43%.
Okay.
Tabletop gaming increased 49% over the last 3 months, compared with those same 3 months in 2024. But that includes Magic the Gathering, which saw the release of Edge of Eternities and Marvel's Spider-Man crossover events. Wizards' tabletop division is made up of Magic and D&D, and we don't know what percentage each makes up.
Casey, I'm playing Daggerheart Scandal or not, let them make their money. No, I think we need to let them know when they're doing something or going in a direction we don't want them to go in, Casey. I think it's they should get feedback on this stuff. You created characters and you didn't enforce that you are archaeologists. Good. I let PCs be what they wanted. Yeah. I didn't want that to be a hard thing. I just wanted to be an option for people who wanted to get in as fast as possible. As long as the important thing in that book is they just need to want to go on the adventure, right? They crit on intimidating the board. Nice. How are you finding the environments? Were you finding you using the optional environments a lot? Was it useful to have a lot of options, or did that kind of throw too many options at you? Just think about the next one I make.
I would estimate Magic makes up about 80% of the sales, and I think that's conservative. Tabletop gaming increased 49%, and Magic the Gathering is 80% of that. Then D&D sales increased about, 16%? Not bad, but does that sound like a record-breaking new addition?
Like and subscribe, it really helps the channel.
But they said it was the strongest start ever for D&D books.
Yeah. I think that's fair. I think if there's been an increase by 16%, I think that's pretty good. I honestly think that if I was to guess at how Wizards were feeling, and this is a complete guess from a guy who doesn't know anything, just for discussion's point, I think the 2024 edition, sales-wise, Wizards of the Coast and D&D are just it's okay. It's okay. It's not the end of it. They're fine. They sold copies. It's out in the world. And I think when you look at the numbers on paper that they're talking about, it being record-breaking, that's because people are buying multiple copies. I don't think they're lying, right? I don't think anyone's here being they're lying out their teeth, because I don't know why they would need to, except maybe to save grace. But I think they might be just looking at you can look at the numbers in many different ways, but I don't think I think it's probably been healthy, Because just creating a new edition alone compared to doing nothing at all is going to create more revenue for the company. You like the options, you ignore the ones you didn't want, but that still left multiple. Yes, that's perfect. Threw a band out at them after they rescued Thorian. They hesitated to fight, so I made Thorian attack, and they left both NPCs sorted out themselves. Nice. That's fun, though. That is fun.
I know what they said. I get that in the comments all the time, but they said this, as if what a CEO says is true. In addition to being a full-time English teacher and a full-time YouTuber, I also have a job in securities analysis, which...
It's too many jobs.
Requires me to listen to conference calls and read annual reports. This is ConAgra, and in this book are all the deets on beefaroni. Here's another company I have to look at. It's Tesla. The CEO has made claims that everyone's going to have an Optimus robot in 10 years, and it's going to be able to cook them breakfast. Now, he could say that, and it might be true, but it's my job to be skeptical. When Chris Cox says it's the strongest start ever, what exactly does that mean? Does that mean first week sales? Those first week sales, do they count pre-orders? Do they count the number of players' handbooks sold at Gen Con? I think that was 5,000.
Yeah, it means a lot. It means a lot. It's an interesting look at it. I still don't think we have any information on how much they sold. I just don't think we have any real idea. So it's fun to talk about, though. All right, guys, how is everyone today? How was Halloween? Did anyone do any TTRPG-based Halloween, like meet and greets and fellowships and stuff? I had to cancel my Daggerheart Halloween game. Unfortunately, I had a really fun one planned. I can still do it. But it'll have to be later down the line. What's the scandal in question? We'll talk about it in a bit. I just want to still warm up a little bit more. But for anyone, I don't want to lead anyone on. It's the Hero Forge stuff. They partnered with Hero Forge, and I've made some questionable choices. And it's kind of like that Baldur's Gate 3 thing where when you do something and a little thing comes up that says Shadowheart approves and Will disapproves. This is everyone disapproves. You make Limpworth less bustling than the text implied. I didn't want to improvise a busy market. Quiet market was easier with most shopkeepers closing up. Yeah, no, perfect. Sounds like you used it exactly how I wanted you to use it. It's just take this as a starting point and then do whatever is easiest for and preferred for your table. So nice work. Yeah. I will warn you. I've only heard this from one person, and they said the final boss battle was harder than they thought, and I did make it difficult. I did want it to be a challenging boss encounter. It has 3 tiers, so you can drop 1 tier if you want to. So just don't be afraid of that. I might revisit it if other people tell me it's too hard. I might revisit it and make it easier. But I had one review saying they loved the adventure, but that last boss battle killed one of their characters. So just a warning there. Yeah, the Hero Forge pack is so strange. Yeah, it's something we really need to talk about because I really don't want it to be an ongoing thing that people try and do. I'm kind of worried for the Daggerheart community getting taken advantage of because I think we really want this product to succeed and we want to help it succeed. So we kind of want to give it our money. And I don't like the idea of companies taking advantage of that, enthusiasm that we have. And this is what that feels like, right? But this is why I'm interested to get your guys' take on it. So we can chat about it. We can chat about it now.
Do they count?
We can jump in there before my... It's not just the scandal, though. There have been some really good news that's come out with Daggerheart recently. So we'll start talking about the bad stuff, and then we'll move to the good stuff, because there's a lot of good stuff. There is a lot of good stuff. You know what's happening, so I need to... Well, we're starting right now, Mitchie, and Still Cage. There's so much free information and content. Material isn't necessary anymore. I didn't spend a dime on D&D. Been playing for 3 to 4 years. Yeah. We're not talking about D&D. We are now talking about Daggerheart and Hero Forge. Now, a couple of months ago, there was an announcement that Daggerheart was partnering with a bunch of companies, and we're seeing that all come out right now. And we'll talk about the other ones after this. But one of the biggest ones was Hero Forge. They were partnering with Hero Forge so that you could go onto Hero Forge and create minis for Daggerheart, starting with the Ribbit, the Fun Grill, and the Simia. The idea, I've tried going on Hero Forge and creating species from, or heritages from Daggerheart, and it's very difficult. So I was really looking forward to this, because I wanted to create one of my players' characters and buy it as a present. I was like super stoked for that. And what's important to know is there's kind of 3 types of customers at Hero Forge. There's the people who like to come on here and play around with it and make stuff and don't really spend that much money, but they use it a lot, right? Then there's people who have 3D printers who like to use it a lot and buy the STL files and 3D print that. And that's quite a low bar for them as far as money goes, because they're printing it themselves, right? Hero Forge caught onto this, and they started a subscription service where people could unlock extra stuff every month, and then they can make stuff and print it off themselves, or they can buy it the old-fashioned way where Hero Forge make the minis for them and ship them to them and paint them and color them and all that stuff. Then there's the third type of people like me who use Hero Forge maybe once or twice a year. I will go on to Hero Forge, create a character, buy the physical model of it, get it shipped out to me. Maybe I'll do that for a friend as a present, and I will tell all my players about it, and some of them will go on there and make their characters on Hero Forge whenever we start like a new campaign, or they have a new character. That is in my mind how I use Hero Forge. And I like that. It's like a shopping thing. Once a year I go on, make my perfect character, it gets shipped out to me. So I'm extra annoyed about this. You creating Daggerheart minis on Hero Forge without this. Yeah, it's just not as easy. And I've heard some people say that, like, oh, just do this or just do this. It's like, it doesn't stop this from not being a good thing at all. So the actual scandal is that they finally released this stuff. It looks pretty good, to be honest, but it is behind a paywall. You have to pay $8 for, I think it's USD, so it's even more for me in Canada, to unlock one of these heritages, right? So if you want all 3 of them, you're spending like 30 bucks, right? You're spending 30 bucks to unlock these as an extra thing. Then if I wanted to make one using this stuff, say I wanted to make a ribbit, I would also have to then make it and get it shipped out to me and spend the 40 bucks for that. And it's really disconcerting. This whole thing was released to absolute dislike from everyone, to the point where I think that Instagram has had the most interaction with, I mean, it's been liked by 4,000 people, but I don't think they've realized fully what it is, because people in the comments were hating on it. It got hundreds of comments, and comments on this post have now been limited, meaning they've stopped comments. And when a company like this makes a post and they have to turn off comments, you know it's bad. You just know it's bad. They also did a post on X and Blue Sky where we can kind of see what's going on there a bit more. This had 41 comments on X. Primarily, in fact, I've not seen one positive comment. Not one. I was not all expecting Hero Forge to go with premium assets. I'm mostly disappointed. I've let my subscription run even when not actively using it. This made me reconsider my choice. That's the other thing, and it is a big thing. They have a subscription service where they release new material for people subscribing every month. This is not including in the subscription service. So if you are a Hero Forge subscriber and you pay them every month, and you also want to make a Daggerheart character, you then have to pay 30 bucks for these 3 packages, which is the biggest issue, I think. I've seen a lot of people say, like, oh, if this was included in the subscription, that would be okay. From my point of view, as a Daggerheart fan, I want to make a Daggerheart mini, and I don't understand why they're hiding this behind a paywall, except to rinse me for money, to get money out of my pocket. This is the first Hero Forge release that they've ever done this with. This isn't like a thing that other partnerships have done. They've had partnerships with other people. This is the first time they've ever put it through an extra paywall. So as far as affecting me goes, it's pretty big. I was like ready to jump online here for multiple things. I wanted to make my wife her Daggerheart Mini. I thought that would be really fun to do and give them my money to ship it to me. I also wanted to kind of review it and make videos about Daggerheart online to push Daggerheart to more people. I'm not paying $30 to do that. I won't make that money back anywhere near with a video. And just all in all, like, I don't like the idea that Darlington Press are partnering with people to, I don't know, just make more money, because like I feel like the community's done a phenomenal job of making Daggerheart a huge success. And I'll show you what really irked me, actually. It was a bit of text that simply said, where is it, the first one? Above and beyond our continued weekly Treasure Tuesday content, these collections are a love letter to the Daggerheart community. Paying for a love letter is insane. Like, if someone came to me and was like, hey, I made you a love letter, this is $30, I'd be like, that's not a love letter, you're selling me a letter. You're selling me a piece of paper. I'm a subscriber, I get credit specific for things like this. It cost me $0. Okay, that's interesting to know. Only need $20, but the point still stands. So how long do you think it would, how long would you have to be subscribed for to get these for free? Is this a Daggerheart scandal or a Hero Forge scandal? That is the question that everyone's asking. Here's the deal. Here's the situation. It's plastered all over here that it's a Daggerheart partnership, right? Every post that has been created that I'm looking at here, Daggerheart have also made a post, like reposting it, right? So Daggerheart are very involved in this. Daggerheart, like Darlington Press, want people to pay for this. Whether or not it was like a deal that Hero Forge or Daggerheart pushed on their end and the other side was like, fine, we really want to make this happen, so whatever, we don't know. It feels like Hero Forge are in a position to benefit more from this. I am a Darlington Press stan, right? I love Darlington Press. I'm a huge fan. Huge fanboy. So it makes a stream like this really hard to make because it doesn't look good for Darlington Press. And we won't know. Like, I'm not here to say, like, how dare they? I'm here to say, like, let's see what they do now, right? They've made the posts. They've got the feedback. How are they going to handle this? Like, look at these comments. Paid sets on top of things like subscription fee? Absolutely not. As a pro subscriber paying $50 a year, the idea that you would lock away more content behind exclusive individual paywalls is gross. Yep. So now we're putting parts behind paywalls now. As a user, I would expect such content to be public. This looks cool, but why is it not part of the pro subscription? Like, the comments go on and on and on. I was a Kickstarter backer from day one. I've always thought your app was the best out there to date. There has to be a better option than to just lock parts behind a paywall. Yeah, like, they're all negative. People are calling it DLC, which it is. And as a Daggerheart player and fan, and I want it to do well and reach more people, this isn't going to help that in any way, shape, or form. It's simply not. Also, the biggest fear for me is that Hero Forge have released these three, indicating that they're going to be releasing more. Maybe we'll get a fairy one, you know, maybe we'll get like a Furbolg one or a giant one. And the biggest indication here, and this is the scariest thing for me, is that the idea that these are locked behind a paywall means they're always going to be locked behind a paywall, right? I would presume. Otherwise, people paying for it now, at least for a very, very long time. Meaning, I'm not going to be able to make my fun grill in Hero Forge, potentially ever. That's really bad. As a Daggerheart fan, the idea that I'm just not going to be able to do this without paying any money is very crappy. It's happening, Cool Cylinder. Whether they should have cost money or not is a different story, yeah. Didn't they kickstart one of the domain cards? They kickstarted all the class cards, which I was okay with at the time. It was weird for them to be like, hey, we've had such a huge success. We're sold out everywhere. It's doing really well. Also, give us more money so that we can make more stuff. When you'd think they would just like they'd have the budget to make more stuff, right? But the Kickstarter thing I kind of get, because I feel like that was testing the waters to see if people even wanted those class cards. Like, there's a difference between using Kickstarter to figure out, like, can you make enough money to pull it off? And there's using Kickstarter to figure out if people even want it. So I'm kind of more forgiving of that. This is much harder to, like, defend. And this is coming from someone who likes to defend, who likes to play devil's advocate here. But this is a theory that I tried to make on my own. It didn't turn out well. But this is what it looks like. Let me get rid of my face. So this is kind of what it looks like when you're on Hero Forge. This pops up here, and I can click on a Ribbit Collection, $7.99, and I can see everything in here. Like, I feel like this is only useful if I have a 3D printer and I want access to these and I 3D print a lot of stuff. That's the only reason I can possibly see wanting to have pay $8 for this. So yeah, I'm good, Cool Cylinder. I'm good. They could always refund. Yeah, I want to see, you know, how they handle it. It's certainly making the news. It is certainly the big thing right now. I think you're going to see people being like literally burned down to best of the ground. I don't think it's that. I do not think it's that. Still play Daggerheart, still enjoy it. This is something we've got to power through. Companies like this are going to make faux pas. Both Hero Forge and Darrington Press. I'm not saying either one at 60 is blamed for this. We don't know. We need more information on that. But they're going to make faux pas. They're going to push the limits and see how it works. I think what we're starting to see is Darrington Press move from being a very small publisher to a large publisher. And we're going to have growing pains from that. Have I played Dispatch? I played the demo a while ago. I want to play it. I want to get into it. I was kind of confused, but are they releasing episodes bit by bit? And like, how many episodes will it be? Local libraries have 3D printers for the patrons to use. Universities do for their students. There's a way for the file to get printed without individual needing printer. Michi, I understand that. I thought about this as well. I thought people would say this. The point isn't like, I don't want solutions to this problem or issue. I don't want like to be told like, oh, it's fine that you used Hero Forge like this in the past, but now you can just do this and go here. I don't want DLC. I think we can all agree with that in general. I think DLC in general, downloadable content, like microtransactions is what this is. I don't want that. Full stop. I think that's where my line is drawn. And I also want transparency. I want to, like, if they came out and were like, oh, we were just testing this or trying this, or like were more open about stuff, about doing this from the get-go, for example, like when they announced the partnership that they were gonna have Daggerheart Ancestries on Hero Forge, I would have liked to know at the time that this was how it was gonna play out to avoid this kind of disappointment. And this isn't a thing where it is like just me, you know? Once again, there are tons of comments on these posts and not one is positive, to the point where they had to turn off comments on Instagram. Like, it is being critically and like community panned. It's people are giving it 1 star across the board. So now the question is, it's not about whether they should have done it or not. It's not about like the morality of it or like why they're doing it. Now the question is, what are they going to do about it? What are they going to do next, right? That's how I'm really going to judge this whole situation. They could come out and say, we charge this much so that you feel a sense of pride and accomplishment. Yeah, or like, I don't know. If they were going to come out and be like, this is just the first package hidden behind here, we're going to release more stuff in the future so you can make a ribbit for free on our website. They can do that too. There is like a meme that is kind of going around right now, which I'm going to feed into a little bit. I feel like it's the thing creators say a lot, especially when they're dealing with this kind of stuff. But I do wonder if Hero Forge have bumped into a contractual wall where maybe they have an agreement with other TTRPG companies that allows them to put their stuff on there for free and make money, like D&D, for example. So the only way to put Darrington Press on here is to make it like a separate product behind a paywall, right? If that was the case, then that would be a different story. If they said that, they were like, this was the only thing we could do to get this D&D, Daggerheart stuff out, then I'd be like, okay, fair enough. But like, tell us that. But yeah, it's disappointment. I mean, how do you guys feel about this? Because it is a weird thing. As such, I know a lot of you guys are Daggerheart and Darrington Press fans. It is something I naturally want to defend. This one is just hard to. Wouldn't paid material push people away from Hero Forge? I think, here's the crazy thing here. I think there's a massive opening right now for another company to come in and just be like, we make Daggerheart minis, you know, and rival Hero Forge. And it's like, you can use them for free. You can make it for free and order it. It's just an interesting decision. And more information might come to light, or maybe someone smarter than me, or maybe I, with more time to think about it, might change, you know, my opinion on this a little bit. But from a first reaction, and I saw this last night, from a first reaction, it leaves a bad taste in my mouth. It's really disappointing. Paywall segment of it, yeah. And like, it's not going to affect, you know, my love of Daggerheart or the fact that I'm playing it. Maybe if a bunch of stuff like this happened in a row, or there's a pattern forming, it might affect my like view on Daggerheart as a whole. It feels like this was the first. This has been the first big, real Daggerheart drama. Like we had some with the game license, people saying it wasn't good enough. It's whatever in my eyes. We've had people, including myself, who were disappointed with their decision not to go along with it, with campaign 4, which is fair. But I think this is the first one where I'm like, okay, guys, we can't let this happen. Like, this isn't right. Oh hell, what did I miss? You should be able to skip back on my YouTube, Waltman, rather than me rehashing. Sorry. I have no problem with paying for the fee to build STL files. It's the putting certain ones behind a paywall, then paying for that file, that makes me go, nope, not for me. Yeah. Look, if I could spend $7.99 and unlock this pack, and then I got $7 off printing and delivering a mini to me, like the actual products, that would be a different story, because I still end up the same thing, but it's kind of doing it in a different way. I mean, this is the reality, actually. This is genuinely the reality. Here's what's happened, right? This mini, which is just a normal Hero Forge one, if I wanted to make this, and color it and get it sent to me, shipped out, it would cost me $45, right? If I wanted to make a Daggerheart mini exactly the same way, get it shipped out to me, it would cost me $52. That's really how I'm looking at it. It's just more Daggerheart minis on Hero Forge right now are more expensive, right? Why? Why is that the case? I don't like that that's the case. And I think that's kind of where I'm coming from. It's like, why are you charging more for Daggerheart fans than D&D fans? And is it because we've shown that we're more willing to spend money because there's not a lot of that stuff out there and we want it to succeed? It's a non-issue for me. Hero Forge seems like a luxury service for people who want to make their digital TO game pretty. I play IRL with cardboard tokens and I'm fine. Yeah. I mean, the answer here is don't use Hero Forge. If it's like, oh, here's the biggest problem. As long as it doesn't become a pattern that Daggerheart is partnering with other companies and then they're trying to rinse us for more money, right? If you're angry about digital cosmetics, just don't pay for it. Once again, this is a non-point. It's really dismissive to be like that, right? It's like, oh yeah, if this thing you love isn't doing what you like, then just go find another thing. And it's like, no, I think we should like. Also, if it's a thing that you're just like, I think they made a mistake here. Let's see what they do. It's very dismissive. Hero Forge released how many? So yeah. I'm irritated because there's nothing super unique in the Daggerheart ancestry types. It's easy to genericize all of them the same way they did with everything else in Hero Forge. I thought they were just going to release a few heads. I thought they were just going to be like, hey, here's a few body types into Hero Forge that would allow you to put together a ancestry. And I don't think that would have taken too much too much work. I really thought that was the case. The idea that they're like, making this DLC and they're putting this collect box on it, like, make sure you collect it. Collector's edition, Daggerheart, gotta collect them all. I've just seen many video games go down a route like this. And it's never ended well. It's never ended well. Because people will buy this, If we be quiet, the whales will put money into this. It will probably make them money. And then they'll do it again and again and again. And then other companies will do it. And then other companies will do it. Yeah, it still sucks. But I feel this is a Hero Forge only decision. I think Darrington just gave green light for Hero Forge to do something with the ancestries. There's no product identity stuff from D&D on Hero Forge. I think it's generic. Right. You can even already make a ribbit by using a frog guy in Hero Forge, which I've done. Yeah, like I said, I was trying to make this fairy, but it would have been nice, I wonder if it was Darrington Press saying, hey, we want people to be able to make minis, and Hero Forge is a great place to do that. And Hero Forge saying, are you going to pay us? And Darrington Press saying, well, how about you monetize on your end? Like, we'll give you stuff you can monetize on your end any way you want, and this is how it turned out. It's certainly been being pushed by Darrington Press as much as it's being pushed by Hero Forge, though. Because, I'll check out that ribbit later. Very cool. Thank you for the subscription, Kenshin Himura. I missed the entire September thing where everyone subs to people on Twitch because I just was working on that book, which is a pain. But if you have any free Amazon Primes and you want to give me a free subscription, go ahead and do it. Anyway, I do want to talk about a lot of other good news for Daggerheart, though, outside of this. But, yeah, I saw this Reddit post about it as well. Honestly, it's everywhere. No one's happy about this. And this person was saying, this is fascinating as a marketing fumble because it's bad for Hero Forge. Either they're using Daggerheart as the first step of a pivot from third-party content being free on the platform, or they caved to Darrington Press's demands. We don't know. Darrington Press, Critical Role, either they didn't consider how bad this would paint their product as being the first DLC that doesn't even give pro subscribers access at all, or they really are trying to squeeze their fanbase dry. Hero Forge users, this package costs half a year of pro subscription, plus it's unlikely that frogs, monkeys, and mushroom folk features will ever be added to for regular users. That's my biggest issue. Like, okay, so we're just never going to get this now. Hero Forge should be trying to make pro subscribers happy and not furious. Absolutely abysmal decision on all parts involved. Yeah, all parts involved. It does feel like no one wins, right? In this scenario, no one looks good and no customer wins. No one's out there being like, oh, perfect. I wanted to get this for $7 or $8. I didn't want anyone else to have it, so finally. Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of crazy. It opens up a weird thing as well where people have, certainly with like Daggerheart, where you have a group of, 6 people who play together, and then one person is going to like buy, say, the downloadable content, and everyone else is going to be like, oh, can I use your account? And that's always weird to me. It's always weird when you're in a scenario where you're like, oh, we have to use your account because you have the DLC. That's how you know it's DLC. When one person has it and no one else does because they bought this tiny thing, but you need to go use their thing to do it is, yeah, not good. Well, what can we do but complain about it? Okay, on to good news. There's actually been a lot of Daggerheart related stuff coming out. I feel like the past few weeks, it feels like they're building to something. They're like actively setting those marketing gears in motion. Because I feel like we had like a stint there with Critical Role Campaign 4 coming out, where we had very little Daggerheart stuff, and now it's like being turned back up to 11, which is very good for us. What's up, Doodle Dave? The first thing I want to talk about is the release of the Bloodhunter class on the Void, already at 1.5. This is really big for a few reasons. One, because it's like a favorite class that a lot of people who play D&D wanted here, and now we have it. And it's something kind of like very unique in the fact that it's the first class to have 3 subclasses. You get Order of the Ghost Slayer, Order of the Mutant, and Order of the Lycan, which is kind of like a kind of supernatural version of it, a kind of The Witcher version, and a kind of werewolf version. So it's really cool. And with the release of this, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. We have 11 subclasses, like 11 new subclasses floating around the Void that could easily go into a book. Like, it feels like they're building up on something here. We also have, the new Ancestries that came out and the transformation cards. So, and the new adversaries and environments. So I feel like with all this, with some flavor text, you've got a book. They have come out and said aggressively that stuff that goes on the Void does not mean A, it's ever going to get released. B, it's going to get released anywhere near like what it is now. And C, it's not going to get released soon. There's no like guarantee. So it could be that we don't see this stuff for a while. That is worth noting. But it is exciting to be like, oh, I have like, a whole new core rulebook full of stuff on here that I can play with. Maybe not core rulebook, but a lot of stuff. John Kerry, I think someone somewhere wildly miscalculated the reaction people were going to have. Yeah. Also, in other news, we've had a bunch of new actual plays. We have Legends of Avantris doing their 3-part Daggerheart mini-campaign. I watched, like, the first... when they actually start playing, I watched, like, the first 25 minutes of it. I liked it. I'm definitely going to finish watching it. These guys are great. And it's doing well. This was a live stream, and it got 61,000 views streamed 19 hours ago. So I'm pretty happy with that. We also have the Dispatch one-shot, which came out, tied into the Dispatch game that came out that a lot of Critical Role works on. I think they even like co-created it. This has 115,000 views in less than a day. It's doing very well. Now, this was instead of the Campaign 4 episode, so I guess it would draw a lot of numbers. But I watched, I was watching the start of this as well. Also, seems to be very, very good. Really, like, unique in the way it's been made. But also, it's Daggerheart, not in a fantasy setting, which is really nice to see. It's in a modern day superhero setting, showing off Daggerheart being used in other genres. And I said this when they first announced Dispatch. I don't see any reason why they could not release a Dispatch Daggerheart book, which will be their take on the superhero genre, which is popular in TTRPGs. So this, pure hearsay, but I would like to see, and wouldn't be surprised if we saw a Dispatch official TTRPG using Daggerheart. Oh yes, we also had a surprise question and answer with the devs of Darrington Press. This was like 2 weeks ago or 10 days ago. I wanted to make a video about it there because it was interesting. They talked about the pantheon of Daggerheart, which I am desperate to know more about. And they kind of extended what is in the core rulebook. The core rulebook talks about the core realms, which is like the mortal realm in the middle, the hallows above, which is like heavens, the circles below, which is like the hells, and the realms beyond, which is like, you know, if we were going to compare it to D&D, it would be like the abyss and the far realm and just anything else that's not like connected to these main ones, like very far out. But they also expanded on the fact that there are the forgotten gods, the old gods, and the new gods, right? Old gods seem to be there from the beginning, and the new gods came in, we don't know how, and there was a big fight. And the old gods lost, and they got forced down to the circles below. So the old gods are kind of like, maybe not evil, but like they're like the infernal demon-esque gods. And the new gods are like, you know, the heavens gods. But all these gods have what are known as faint divinities beneath them. Kind of like, I don't want to say demigods, because demigods are something different, but they are half gods almost, just like weaker gods or very powerful beings. And in the hallows above, they're kind of like angels, and in the circles below, they are devils, fundamentally. But they can be of anything. They can be so minimalistic. Like, they could be like the god of glasses would be a faint divinity, which is really cool. The other thing they talked about in this live stream is the fact that they don't have a GM screen yet. They got asked a question, when are we going to get a GM screen? And the answer was, they are working on it. So expect news about that hopefully soon, so that we can buy a GM screen. They have GM screens. I've got one I got with my limited edition one. It's good. It's not the best, I don't think. And I think they know that. Like, the information on there is not the best. I've had to like fill it with post-it notes telling me different information. So hopefully they work on something that is really useful to GMs in-game, and we get to see that soon. Also, in other news, they released a new Daggerheart folio. I think this looks really cool. It's something that many of my players use a lot. We don't use this particular one because it's sold out already, just showing how popular Daggerheart is. But I have like these plastic sheets that my players put the cart in because they don't like holding them. I don't know if you guys who have played it feel the same way, but they prefer just seeing it on like a piece of paper almost. So having it in a folio like this is perfect, and it's got room for your couch sheet as well, which is really, really cool. This is something I'm buying as soon as it becomes available for me to buy. And I'll do a video on it as well. I'll do a video on a bunch of Daggerheart accessories that we can get now. But I'm pretty damn excited about this. Could you recommend a rules light RPG for my group we could play instead of D&D? How rules light do you want to go? Doodle Dave. And it depends on the genre. But I do think Daggerheart is rules lighter than D&D. So I'd recommend that. Then we have a bunch of Kickstarters that are coming out as well. This is actually bigger news. So Dungeon Dudes created a D&D book called Dungeons of Drakkenheim, which seems to have been really, really popular. And now they are making a Daggerheart version of it. And they have blown past their goal of $28,000. And I currently set at $164 with 24 days to go. This is a huge success for both them, I think, and Daggerheart, because people want Daggerheart content. Also, the class packs that Darrington Press have created have also done pretty well, $400,000. Now, I want to learn about Kickstarter. I want to do a video where I deep dive into Kickstarter because I know the goal that people say here is not normally the actual goal they need. It's a much lower goal because they want to hit their goal early. So they like lower the goal. But this is not a small amount of money to be scoffed at. I would love to know how much is left after they, produce the things and ship them out, and like how much revenue it generates. I have no idea. But I would say this is also a huge Daggerheart success. And also on Drive-Thru RPG, most popular under $5 is still my Daggerheart book that I wrote. Maybe not book, but adventure. And also, I am still in the hottest small publishers list, which is crazy. So thank you everyone who bought that. Genuinely, thank you everyone who bought that. I can't believe I'm on the homepage of Drive-Thru RPG like multiple times. It is actually crazy. And the video I made documenting me making that and publishing it and stuff was one of my favorite videos I've made in a very long time. But Daggerheart's still number one, hottest small publisher, which is great. I think this might be where we're heading issues though. I don't think Daggerheart is... I don't know how they determine what a small publisher is anymore, but I wonder if Daggerheart deserves to be a small publisher anymore, or if it's a mid-sized publisher. Because it's definitely grown a lot over the past couple of months, and I feel like Darrington Press are hitting those growing pains, which is why we ran into the Hero Forge issue in general. Fans are blaming Critical Role for Hero Forge's first ever paid collaboration. So, the interesting thing about the Hero Forge thing is that we know Darrington Press and Daggerheart have a really passionate fan base, right? I think a lot of you guys are in it. And it's niche. So it's like got this real like community driven thing going. But that's what Hero Forge is as well, with a different community. So we've kind of merged two niche communities here in a weird way, where I do think the fans of Hero Forge are blaming Darrington Press, and the fans of Darrington Press and Daggerheart are trying to blame Hero Forge. And I don't think it matters too much. Like, if you're one or the other, we kind of need to band together here and just make sure it doesn't happen, or make sure that they come out and change something, or like, I don't know. I think blaming one side or the other doesn't really matter. I think when you look at something and it's a partnership, even if it was one person's idea, the other person still let it happen. So I think we have to look at it like both sides are to blame here. How many new domains do you think they need for the next release? 3, 9, if Blood and Dread are testing? I don't know if they need a lot for a release. right? We don't know what they're trying to release. So if they're releasing another like book that is purely character classes and their adversaries and their environments, I think you need more than that. But if they're releasing a setting where it's like, hey, here's a full setting book and here's some extra player options, with certainly with domains, I don't think they need that many. I think 3. I think they're good. They've shown that they will release other subclasses in old domains, and they can merge those domains in a way that we've not seen yet as well. So they have also said that they're trying to avoid bloat as far as like it's spreading out too much and there being too many options. I think their goal is to have more options but built into the same things, if that makes sense. So they don't want more classes, for example, or that many more classes. They would rather give you more options within those classes, which I still kind of see as kind of... No, I guess it's not. Yeah, I guess I agree with that. I think that's a good idea. So we will see. Do I think domain packs could release one by one? I don't know. I actually have no idea what they're planning. It's very exciting to kind of watch this unfold and see what happens. And that's kind of why I'm staying on the positive side of this Hero Forge scandal. Because they have done a ton of other really good stuff in the past couple of weeks. And this is just like one faux pas out of, I would say, like 7 or 8 wins. This is one L. Okay. My biggest fear is that they do what D&D does in this scenario, which is stay absolutely silent. I will be very disappointed if this does not get addressed by Darrington Press or Hero Forge. They've already proven that and shown that they're very public facing and transparent. They do live streams often. Critical Role are obviously incredibly forward facing. And we'll just see. Because if they just don't mention it, if they're like, hey, because we know they've seen this feedback. They know they know the community is not happy with them right now. If they stay dead quiet and try and wait for it to blow over or try and like distract us, then I'm gonna be like, nope, that's what D&D does. I don't like that at all. I'm gonna kick up a stink. Wait, what? Not wanting to make more classes? I felt that the domain system was made for more different classes. Yeah, I'm not saying they're not going to make more classes, but they have said that they do not want to bloat the system out too much early on. So I think for the time being, and this is just a prediction from me, we're only going to see maybe the classes that they've kind of released in the void, which there are a lot of. But I don't think we're going to get a book which is just full of different classes. I think we'll get more subclasses, but not so much full classes. I don't think we'll get that many more ancestries either, but I can see us getting more communities. But who knows? Who knows what they're going to do, right? But they've also come out and said like they want other people to make stuff for it as well, so they might just be hoping other companies also make those books. Waltman, it's a big risk by Hero Forge. If people buy it, this will be the new business model going forward. We'll see how many suckers there are out there. Yeah. Yeah. I don't think anyone's a sucker if they buy it, by the way. It's like... There's a weird thing that happens when I talk about stuff like this, and there are people out there who are like, it's a good business decision. And I'm like, maybe. But that's not what we're talking about. Like, as consumers and customers, we shouldn't care about a company making good business decisions. We should care about, like, our satisfaction. And I can tell you, ain't no one satisfied by this. Ain't no one is satisfied by this. So, and like, I also, when I first saw it at $7.99 per ancestry, I was like, oh, so you're gonna get like 100 items or 200 items within that. And it's like, no, nope. In fact, how many are in? Yeah, let me look at the Simi one. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 24, 36. Okay, so there's more than I thought. What is it, like 60 or so? There is more than I thought. But to say a lot of them are just like skin textures, I guess. Faded over eye war paint. It's like disappointing on many levels. I think even if this was like an industry standard to pay for stuff, I still think people would be sat here saying this is expensive for $7.99. It should be $7.99 for all 3 ancestries. So it's like bad on so many levels. I'm biased, but would probably blame Hero Forge over Darrington, because Daggerheart is still in the growth phase of their business rather than the inevitable enshittification phase. Yeah. So you can buy each individual ancestry for $7.99. So you can buy the Ribbit Ancestry Pack, the Fungril Ancestry Pack, or the Simia collection. They call it a collection. Each one individually is $7.99, which gets you, like, as we're looking, like 50 things. You can buy all 3 for $30. Or I guess you just, like... Yeah, I don't actually know. Maybe it's not 30, maybe it's less than 30, but it is what it is. What is it? 8 times 3. As much as I love Hero Forge and Critical Role, I feel this is a huge miss. Not saying to give away everything for free, but piecing things out feels wrong. It's the exact reason I loathe D&D Beyond. Yeah. Yeah. And sometimes it's fine to be like, maybe a business model's not working, and maybe come up with a different business model that the customers are happy with. Because I remember when I looked at Demi-Plane and the Daggerheart stuff, and I was like, this is great, but it's like too expensive for me. So I reviewed it badly. I didn't review it badly, I reviewed it average. I was like, if you want to spend the money compared to whatever, and I had comments being like, you don't understand what they need to do to stay in business, though. They need you to pay that price, otherwise they go out of business. And I'm just like, that's fine, but I shouldn't change my review of if I enjoy a product or not based on how well the company's doing, right? Or their business plan, or anything like that. It's like, you want a review of like the product, and part of that is whether I think it's worth it for the price. And like the cost of running service isn't a thing that I need to factor into my review. It shouldn't be. But I see that a lot, especially in this space. Because people are very educated and business-minded and aware. The other argument I see is like, oh, they're a company, they need to make money. Of course they're going to do this. But it's like, yeah, but like, we're not talking about that. What a weird defense to come from. We're talking about like the product that they made, not like the company's like ethics, right? There's also still examples of companies out there that are cool. It's not like every freaking capitalist company is evil. It's just the biggest ones are. $24. Yeah, okay, so $24. But in Canadian, that's $30. Man, I'm surprised the other stuff was previously free. I was impressed with what they're offering without a sub. Yeah, I was too, and I've given them tons of money. I've spent like $300 on Hero Forge as an individual, and I have recommended it to a bunch of other people who have also spent a lot of money on that website. From my point of view, which is like going on there, making something, buying it, and get it shipped out to me. So it sucks. It sucks for me. What's up, Jessica? Thank you for the follow. So if you pay the package for $7.99, you can get the file for free. I do not believe so. Though someone else in the chat might know the exact details, but I don't think so. I think you've still got to pay for the file in the same way. But that does change. If you pay for $7.99, you can just like get so many STL files from that. That's slightly different, but either way, for me, it's still annoying. It doesn't affect me anyway, because I don't want STL files, you know? Imagine if Watsy approached Hero Forge now and pay them to make a Z grung pack and sell it for $1. Man. Or just like we're like, partner with us and put it out for free. It is a weird thing as well, right? It is kind of odd because you can still make grungs and you can still make like monkey bodies and stuff in Hero Forge. So I think that might be kind of a thing as well. Like they might look at it as like you really don't need this. I tried to go in and I tried to make a good ribbit though. I tried to make a good fun grill, and having access to these packs would make it 20 times easier to get something you're proud of. Not everyone wants to go into Hero Forge and spend 5 hours kit bashing together their perfect mini. I would say most people don't want that. I know some people do, and that's the other thing. Some people love going in there and making things and really going all out on it, but no, not me. Just give me the thing. You give me the thing and I will pay you money for it. Don't make me pay money for the thing and then pay more money for the thing afterwards. Well, man, here's how I imagine it went down. Hero Forge, we got these cool minis. We want to be the official Daggerheart providers for minis. Daggerheart, okay, it costs this much. Hero Forge, here's how we'll recoup the cost. Maybe. I do wonder. I think it's more Daggerheart reached out to Hero Forge, personally. Because Daggerheart, New Kids on the Block, they want to get their minis out there. No evidence of this. But I picture it was something like that. It was like, Daggerheart went to Hero Forge. Hey, do you want a partner? And Hero Forge was like, okay, but people can just make a lot of stuff like this anyway. We don't normally, like, what's to stop us from just making something similar to Rivets, which they have, or something similar to Fungals, and putting the site for free and selling that? And Daggerheart and Hero Forge were like, well, we have to make this a partnership in some way. It has to be tied strictly to Daggerheart. So they kind of came up with this. I think. Hail and well, Matt. I just dropped in. The Scandal is the Hero Forge stuff. Hopeful. Yeah, it's the Hero Forge stuff. You've nailed it. But we went over a bunch of good stuff, because there's a bunch of good stuff in Daggerheart right now as well, which outweighs the bad. But yes, that's the thing that we've been mostly talking about, and the thing that I'm most disappointed in. But I think depending on, like, if we did want to play, just for Devil's Advocate, if we did want to play the blame game and who's to blame, right? Then, unfortunately, my go-to is Hero Forge, because they made the thing. They created the business model. They advertised it fully. I know Darrington Press have like reposted their advertisement posts, but there's a difference between reposting and posting, right? And it's like, who's getting directly paid for it? Who's getting the users? It's Hero Forge, unfortunately. But like I said before, when there's a partnership, you know, it takes two to tango. So I don't think there's anyone who's innocent here, if you believe there has been wrongdoing. For all this, I did make a great approximation of Fog from Chrono Trigger, to date one of my favorite minis I got from Hero Forge. Nice. Yeah, you can make the stuff. It's not bad. And depending on how you use Hero Forge, I think there's going to be a lot of people out there who just don't use Hero Forge and are like just worried that this kind of business model, if it comes from the Daggerheart side, might infect other things. It's like made slightly worse by the demi-playing stuff as well, because I do think demi-playing is too expensive. Unfortunately, where they do try and pull money out of you. I don't like subscription models in general. I definitely don't like DLC that you have to buy. And in this scenario, I definitely don't like having a subscription model and also selling DLC to the people with subscriptions. It doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel good. And I'm very aware that this is being released close to Christmas, when people are more likely to just spend money. Yeah. Oof, I was afraid that DG had done some problematic stuff. This is sad, but I think Hero Forge always were like this. This is the first time they have ever released paid DLC in this way. This is the first time. If all tweets and news articles and things I've read are to be believed. So it is like, just outside of Daggerheart, just TTRPG in general, this is a bad precedent that they might be precedent that they might be starting here, setting. So yeah, it's new and it's scary. In fact, let me see if there's been any other news on it, because you would hope they would. I guess they're doing some announcement. Like, I'm sure they're all talking about their PR stuff. There's no way they did this and didn't expect some kind of kickback. Hey, we made a love letter for you. Pay us $20. Okay, so I don't know how true this is, but this is kind of what I'm thinking. The way that I use it is like, on Twitter, Josh Coop said, so $24 for parts, then $15 for premium, then $35 for printing it. So it's a $74 mini after shipping, right? So for me, I don't have premium. I don't care about premium. So that's minus $15, right? So let's call it $55 mini after shipping. So it's, yeah, 24, and let's say I just want one, right? So it's just $8 more, right? So it's $8 for parts, then $35 for printing it. So yeah, it's like $43. And then you add shipping to that, right? And whatever that is, that's the mini you pay for. But like, just any way you look at it, if I didn't use the Daggerheart mini, if I just made a D&D mini, I hate to do Daggerheart D&D, but if I made a D&D mini, it would cost $35. And if I made a Daggerheart mini, it would cost $42, right? And I'm like, what? That's so, why? Remember, Hero Forge and Critical Role have an existing relationship. Hero Forge is sponsored, yeah. The sponsorship thing with Critical Role and in general any big company is kind of a misnomer though, because a company reaching out to Critical Role's PR team and saying, hey, any sponsorship slots available? And then the PR team saying, yeah, next month you can sponsor, here's how much we need, and then making a deal, and them doing some research at the time, and it all looking above board. And then the cast of Critical Role reading an ad read really isn't like a pre-existing relationship in a way that some people may think it is, right? It's not like they're like in bed together in some big way. And that may be the case here with the Daggerheart stuff. Like, the actual stuff was all done by a select group of people on both sides, that really is just a contract they signed, and then both sides had to like stick to the contract. It might be that both sides don't like how this has played out, but there was some other thing happening that made them do it this way. We'll just have to find out. What's up, Silence? How's it going, man? Okay, I'm on Hero Forge right now, and if I get my mini colored, it's already $60 without tax. Yeah. Is that the Daggerheart one? No, because you wouldn't have bought the thing, right? So it would be $68 if you wanted the Daggerheart one. Yeah, so it really is that. Like, oh, I want a D&D mini, $60. I want a Daggerheart mini, $68. And it's not even like, I don't know what, like, spending any more money is like a no-go for one thing or the other in my mind, just from like a TTRPG consumer point of view, right? But there's something about $8 that feels like, if it was $3, it probably would be wrong still, but I feel better about that. But like, in my mind, I round up to $10, and I'm just like, nah, I don't want to do that. In this recession, maybe that's it. Maybe it's a sign of the recession, guys. Maybe Hero Forge are really struggling and need this. I think Hero Forge is good if you have your own resin printer. Yeah, I think they're good if you want to order stuff. I don't mind making a custom mini and spending $60 to get it shipped down to me once every year or once every 2 years for a new campaign or for a gift. I kind of don't mind doing that. There's somebody like that. Why would you do that? Just go and buy a mini and paint it, or create your own from elsewhere and 3D print it. But I'm just like, it's nice to have that option, and people do it, and Hero Forge make money from it. So it's just kind of annoying, yeah. If you have access to a 3D printer and you've got time to print, yeah, it's $8. Yeah. Hero Forge has been the cheapest one you've found. Oh, well, thank you for doing that research. Cool Cylinder. Also, Phil, we are trying to get server boosts so that we can upgrade the Discord server. Also, we want more real people, not bots in the Discord server, so advertise. Okay. This is a call out to everyone watching. We had a bot issue on Discord where it was what it is. We have put tons of stuff in place, and I believe we have got rid of them now. It's a safe space. If you want to chat Daggerheart, it is a great place to do it. If you want to just keep up with things or just chat to other cool people, go check out the Discord. Link is in the description. We've got rid of most. Cool Sound. No. We got rid of all of them. I did that big delete. I'm pretty confident we've got rid of like all of them now. We'll see though. Daggerheart, D&D, really any TTRPG? Yes. My mods are desperate for something to mod. So if you want to come and like give my mods something to do, just come join the server. Don't be problematic though. I'm bored, bro. Don't. You're gonna get people who are coming in and just causing absolute chaos. And if you do go join the Discord server, let me know. I'll call you a poop head if you want. Are you in the Discord, Michi? I think you should go in there and call Cool Cylinder a poop head. It would be very funny to join and instantly get banned. But yeah, that's kind of the news. Like, it does feel like Daggerheart is gearing up for some kind of marketing push with the many paid actual plays I've been seeing and the Kickstarters coming out. I feel like the campaign for launch, which I'm sure the marketing team at Darrington Press in general like, because I presume Critical Role and Dance Press have like the same marketing team. I think the Critical Role campaign 4 kind of launch is kind of dying down now. It's in a good place, and now I'm hoping that we get a little bit more concentration on Daggerheart in general, because it's really, really fun and cool to see what they're making. I think out of all the news, the thing I was most excited about was the fact that they released this Daggerheart folio, which, I don't know, just when I see something that I'm like, oh, that is Daggerheart specific. Like, you wouldn't really use this for most other TTRPGs. This is like a thing that makes Daggerheart stand out as a unique thing. I get very excited. And when I see it out of stock instantly, and this is in Canada, I'm like bummed because I wanted to buy it, but also I'm like, good, keep selling out. Like, it's never a good thing for the person to buy it in a moment, but it's a great sign for the game in general. Though this could just be a thing where Critical Role posts stuff and Critical Role sells stuff, so. Or they didn't make that many because they weren't sure how well it would do. What I'm really excited about is seeing like dice come out. I don't think we've seen. They made a bunch of dice partnerships. There's like 3 dice companies that made partnerships with Daggerheart. I'm hoping we see that in the coming weeks, because I want dice, baby. I want Daggerheart dice. Is there any accessories that you guys are excited about seeing or that you'd want? I know a GM screen is a big one. I think a fear tracker in general, I would really be excited to see how they handle that. But time will tell. They have to, if they release a bunch of stuff coming up to Christmas, I think that is like a thing a business would do. It would make them money. So yeah, just hopefully we just get bombarded with Daggerheart stuff in November and December. You got an official Daggerheart set of dice? Yeah. They're nice. They are nice. I want more interesting ones though, because the official ones are just like Daggerheart. They're just like dice with 2d12s. And the 2d12s do seem like they're slightly different from the rest of the set, but like I want something where like in a limited edition when they released the dice that were the pointy weird shaped ones. I want those kind of things. There's 3d12s. Yes, don't be pedantic. I mean 2 extra d12s. The fear tracker that Matt used, I want badly. I love that. The fear tracker that is in Age of Empires. Yeah, I was surprised to see it. I'm kind of disappointed. Like, I do wonder if what we're seeing with Age of Empires, because it affected me so much that I now use a fear tracker whenever I play Daggerheart. But actually, in like the Legends of Advantis one shot, they don't use a fear tracker, as far as I can tell. And in Dispatch, they use a fear tracker just by putting paper clips on the side, which is a fun way to show that, like, oh, you can do it, any way you want, really. But, like, I'm not seeing a lot of custom-made fear trackers out there, I guess, is what I'm saying. And I'm excited to see what people do with that. An official distance ruler that collapses would be great. I've never even thought about that, but that's genius, Geek. Yes, that's so genius. Either collapses like you have those walking sticks, those canes that like, or it's like a tape measure that you pull out and it goes to each point, depending on what you need it. That's really good. That's a really good idea, Geek. I like that a lot. Feel I've officially... Oh, no, don't call me... Can we ban Michi from Discord, please? I'm kidding. I'm kidding. They're safe. Man, I would love that range tracker. The paperclip thing was genius. Yeah, it suits the actual play so much. But I've not watched all the way through. Surely there's not enough real estate here for 12 paperclips. I mean, maybe there is. Maybe there is. You like the tape measure idea? Yeah. Yeah, I got some 3D printed ones from Etsy, and they're fantastic. I've got 3 of them, and I leave them around like the battle mat in the middle, so players can just pick them up, or I can just pick them up, and that alone has made Daggerheart combat faster than D&D for my table. Just because you're only dealing with those ranges, right? There's no moments where you're like, am I in the range of a cone, you know, or a sphere, or a cube? Like, just that tiny difference where with D&D you just have these much more specific ranges, means that people aren't like stopping and really counting squares and thinking about things. They can just pull up a ruler and be like, oh, cool. Or even if you don't use rulers, even if you're just like, okay, that's 30 feet. I'm just going to count. That's 6 squares, right? It's definitely made it faster. But I definitely have players who still prefer thinking in cubes and spheres and cones, because it definitely does add to a more dynamic combat when things like that are happening. I don't think it adds enough for me, honestly. I think the time and complexity it adds isn't worth the dynamicness of it. But it truly is turning into more of a I guess a preference than I kind of ever thought it was. So at this point I've played Daggerheart with a fair few different people, and I've had a healthy mix of people who really like it and prefer it to D&D, and people who prefer D&D. And I've kind of been surprised at that, because as a DM, I definitely prefer Daggerheart. But they still kind of feel so similar in, I guess, the vibe that I want to create, right? I can do the same things in both. But for players, if they prefer long, specific combat and I guess a more built out characters, I do feel like there's more minor things you can do in D&D on a character sheet. If they prefer that, then they'll prefer D&D. But if they want a more like, I guess, I don't want to say less options, because that's not true, but if they wanted less like mechanical options in any given moment, but the ability to do more as far as they're just anything they can think of, then Daggerheart's the way forward, I think. What's up, Zed? I just saw the title and had to click. Yes. Are you aware of the Hero Forge Daggerheart partnership, Zed? Big and small ones. I think the big ones for 5 fair and... Oh, okay. Right. It's good to know. That is an interesting way to do it, then. The only thing I've noticed is some DMs mix them, depending on the type of map, type of encounter. If we are on Theatre of the Mind, they just mix. Oh yeah, you mean jump between Theatre of the Mind and Battle Map play? I play D&D, Daggerheart, and Talisman Adventures, based off the board game. Dabbled in Shadowrun a ways back, and Legends of the Five Rings. What's your favourite, Geek? At the moment, what do you enjoy? If you had to run a game next week... Oh, no, if you had to run a game in 3 days' time, what do you think you would choose? The movement style, I mean close, melee, far. What do you mean you mean some DMs mix them though? Like they change the distances? Unrelated, but while we're on the topic of miniatures, go ahead, Si. Yeah. I honestly just, for me, as a lazy DM, I just find it easier to prep for and run than any other game I played. Has anyone used Steam Forged game sets? Has anyone? So I have not. I'm also very happy with the fact that. Sorry, let me just. My camera has not died on me, which is huge. Which is huge. They look really cool, and I'll like. Okay, let me check it out. Steam Forged games. So what's the deal with them? Is it kind of like? Is it just any minis? Board games. Role-playing games. Okay, some of these minis do look pretty damn cool, actually. I'm just not a painter. I'm not a mini painter. I wish I was. I wish I had the patience to paint minis, but it's my biggest weakness as a TTRPG nerd that I just don't want to. I have no inkling of me wants to sit down for 3 hours and paint a mini. I understand why people do. I understand why it's probably really therapeutic and fun. It's just my body rejects that notion. Some create certain conversions and just jump to the Daggerheart style. But oh, sorry, I see what you mean. Yeah. I think I made a video where I was talking as well about Daggerheart and how I wish there was another range, just one other range, which is like, because what is it? It's melee is within 5 feet. Then you have very close range, which is 15 feet. Then you have close, which is 30 feet. Then you have far, which is 100 feet? Am I right there? And I just feel like that jump is too high. It's too far, quite literally. Boom, boom, boom. No, far is 100 feet. Melee is touching. Very close is 5 to 10 feet. Close is 10 to 30 feet. Far is 30 to 100 feet. And very far is 100 to 300 feet. And then out of range is out of range. That's the whole way up. Oh my god, when I hit 100k, subscribers on my main channel, bonus reaction, go subscribe. I've been stuck in the 60s for too long. Yeah, I wish there was a 60 feet range. That's what I wish there was. Because, yeah, melee is touching, very close is 10 feet. No. Wait. Hold on, let me go to Right. Oop. I use battle mats with squares, so this is, yeah. Melee is 1 square. Very close is 3 squares, which is 15 feet. Close is 6 squares, which is 30 feet. And far is 12 squares. Hold on. Now I am confused. Okay, I didn't realize that was different. I live and learn. Oh. Because when you just read this, it's like this is about 30 to 100 feet. So I've actually been playing this wrong. Because I didn't realize that. Because 6 squares is 30, right? And 12 squares is 60 feet. Yeah, I'm sorry, Thomas. I'm sorry. That's blown my mind. Okay. Well, game changer then. This needs to be on a GM screen. Or I guess it's optional, so. But yeah. Yeah, because, yeah, so far's just a straight 60 feet. I prefer that. So the thing to remember is that the range description in Daggerheart don't all line up. Yeah, I have looked into a lot of Daggerheart stuff, and that escaped me. I thought that was all. I thought it was all the same. I didn't read that properly. Fair enough. That annoying rules lawyer guy. Well, technically, Thomas. No. We were both right. I would like to say. Because far range, just as it is 30 to 100 feet, right? And I still wish there was something that was 30 to 60 feet, like a close far range. So I'm allowing you a minor win, but I do think my issue here is with the rulings themselves. Nah, you won. Alright, well, I mean, that's it. That's really everything I wanted to talk about. I'm not saying you're wrong, I'm just saying we can both be right. Yeah, isn't that the Daggerheart way? There's a world where we both walk away from this. I need this, please. Please. Well, no, that is good to know. I did not realize that the optional rules were that it is 60 feet. Did not realize that. I don't like grids for Daggerheart anyway. Gridless is how I used my BTT for Daggerheart. Yeah, and I've done it with. I mean, now this changes how. Now it's changed how I do things, but yeah, I had been doing. Because I use grids and I use the range trackers, right? I use both those things, and now it was nice to be like, I'm just going to continue to use. I'm not going to use the defined ranges optional rule. I'm just not going to use it. I'm just going to continue to use the idea that if you want to hit someone at far range, that's about 30 to 100 feet. It's here on a range tracker. And it is, 6 to however many squares is 100 feet, 20. You can hit them, because that's what I've been doing, and it's been fine. It's been fine. So at IGM, I obsess over rules and would rather be in a position to make compromises on the fly with players. Yeah. I would like to say, officially, that I have still been playing Daggerheart correctly. It is simply that I misunderstood an optional rule. Okay? And I will die on that hill. I will die on that hill. Alright. Guys, thank you so much for coming in and chilling with me in this stream. Seems like I've not had internet issues. I hope it's been okay for you guys. And my camera's not died, which is good, because those were both the reasons why I've been scared to stream lately. So now hopefully I'll be streaming a lot more, but hopefully it's not about, you know, Hero Forge and Daggerheart wanting my money. More money. I'm willing to give them my money. I just don't want to give them more money. That's the whole issue. That's the whole problem. Always down for session preps. Oh yeah, maybe I should bring that back, because I don't think I've prepped Daggerheart live on stream yet. So maybe that's a game plan. Maybe I start doing that. But honestly, my prepping of Daggerheart is so quick and easy anyway. It might not be interesting to you guys, but maybe we can like play around with stuff and make it a bit more complex and interesting and come up with better things. Maybe we can just create a bunch of environments. That could be fun as well. Create a bunch of adversaries and environments on stream. But yeah, thank you all for watching, and like this live stream, and I will catch you next time. Have a good week. Bye, guys.